All right, tough rink to be in today. We are in the Pettit National Center where the um, speed skating rink is. So there will be constant music as it is public skate right now. You see behind me the speed skating track. And then there are posts everywhere. So I opted to stand where we will shoot twice in enemy territory, but we'll be able to at least see the offense. We'll be able to see the defense, but I'll have to peer around the pole as best that I can. Nolan Dabrowski is in net today for the first game. We're going to start out with Aldridge and Rybicki at D, with Palauskis, Reynolds, and Paulo. And we're up. Fury control the face-off. Reynolds gets a quick shot. It gets blocked into the corner. Palauskis is there. Palauskis working up the board, tries to dump it back down to Reynolds, and knocked into neutral territory by Milwaukee. Sent back in by Rybicki. Paulo chips it off of the boards, right to an Admiral player. Admirals go up the far board and into neutral ice. Dump back down behind Dabrowski. Puck comes into the near corner, shot in front, knocked aside by Dabrowski off of his stick. Palauskis streaking down the right side, gets tied up, and puck taken away by Milwaukee. They turn around, go back in through neutral ice, up through the middle, trying to get past Miller, who's come out on a change. Deflected by Dabrowski behind him into the netting, and we'll get a change. Nietzsche, Letcher, and Chalicki are going to come out. We'll get a face-off in the bad corner that I can't really see all that well. Face-off tied up, goes back into the corner. Onak and Miller at D. Onak gets it over to Letcher. Letcher waits, gets it to Onak across ice. Onak up the near board for Nietzsche. Nietzsche loses it in his feet. Milwaukee back with it. Turns it over around Chalicki. Chalicki tries to pass it. It gets deflected into the corner. And Milwaukee with it now behind Dabrowski. Back up to their D on the far side. They dump it back down onto the sideboard and into the corner. Milwaukee chips it behind Dabrowski. Onak is there, and they try to get it past Nietzsche, who chips it to Onak. Onak's pass doesn't quite get where it needs to go. Chalicki knocks it down, but Milwaukee still has it. They get a shot. It gets blocked by Miller. Puck now behind Dabrowski with Miller up for Nietzsche. Nietzsche trying to chip it ahead. Deflected by Milwaukee. They send it back in. Shot on Dabrowski. Glove side low. No rebound. And we'll get a change. Brown, Kruger, Carter come out. Prisgintis and Rybicki at D. We're missing a D. I think it might be Campbell. Kruger pushes the puck to the corner for Rybicki. Rybicki flings it high for Carter. Bounces past Carter. Goes into neutral ice. And the D for Milwaukee sends it back into Fury zone. Back behind, Prisgintis puts it around for Carter. Carter gets hit, but the puck makes it to Kruger. Kruger gets tripped. No call. Puck down low. Brown steps in front of that. Tries to pass it over to Kruger. Gets deflected. Puck in the corner now. Milwaukee trying to get it out. Goes up the board and passing into the middle. Brown on the back check. Gets there. They have to dump. Dabrowski slows it down. Leaves it for Rybicki. Rybicki to Prisgintis. Prisgintis for Kushkowski. Kushkowski tries to get it in and does. Carter, nice hit. Kushkowski gets hooked. Still has says it on him. They're not interested in making that call. Milwaukee back in. Good stick by Kushkowski. Chips that over to Onak, who came on off of the bench. Predidio tries to chip. It gets knocked to the sideboard. Milwaukee now getting past Credidio and into the zone. Aldridge is out at D as well now. Credidio lost the stick. Milwaukee still with the puck, puts it down deep into the corner. Onak around, intercepted by Milwaukee. They get a shot in front. There's going to be a penalty as Onak took a hit. Looks like it's going to be roughing on Milwaukee. It happened behind that post, so I couldn't quite see the hit, but we're going to go on the power play. So first power play of the game, we're going to go with Paulo, Nietzsche, Prisgintis, Letcher, and Reynolds. Face-off, knocked out of the zone over to Prisgintis in the neutral zone. He's going to set it back up with Reynolds. Reynolds coming cross ice, evades one, enters in the middle, gets a shot off of the blocker of the goaltender into the corner for Nietzsche. Nietzsche up to Letcher. Letcher back down for Nietzsche. Nietzsche to Letcher. Letcher walks it down. They switch places. Nietzsche coming into the corner now off of the puck. Over, escapes, has space, gets it to Paulo. Paulo to Prisgintis. Prisgintis shot and into the goaltender's stomach. No rebound. Some good puck movement. Good opportunity, but no rebound to try to knock in. Milwaukee wins that faceoff back and sends it down the boards. Bounces off. Dabrowski plays it over for Reynolds. Reynolds going behind Dabrowski and coming up with speed up the near board. Now to the middle of the ice through the neutral zone. Knocked away. Get a shot on Dabrowski that he has to stick to the corner. Letcher puts it back behind for Prisgintis. Back to Letcher. Letcher coming through the neutral zone. Tries to chip it over to Nietzsche, and Milwaukee gets it and ties it up in the corner. Puck knocked back. There is 12:30 to go in the period, 40 seconds on the power play. Prisgintis gets past one, gets past two, couldn't get past three. Paulo knocks it back down into the corner. Prisgintis and Paulo working to dig it out. Kushkowski's come on. Prisgintis goes for a change. Reynolds takes Prisgintis' spot to go help. Onak comes on. Reynolds gets the puck to Onak. Onak walks the line. Over to Letcher. Letcher shot hits off of Kushkowski, goes over to the sideboard. Reynolds is still there. Reynolds in the corner. Evades one. Tries to get the puck through. Paulo passes it up to Kushkowski to Onak. Penalties expired. Try to backdoor pass. Kush in the middle. Shot. Gets blocked by, looked like a Milwaukee player. And over into the corner. Paulo takes a hit. Another hit onto Letcher. Puck on the opposite side. Onak takes a hit. Milwaukee. We had a change. Milwaukee's got to win. Back pass. Couple passes. Shot still gets on. It's loose. Up to the D. Milwaukee goes cross ice. Carter is there. They dump it. Misses past Onak. Milwaukee gets a shot. Pushed to the back. Onak's getting hooked. Still getting hooked. No call. Puck comes up. Pushed to the side. Milwaukee gets a shot. Bounces off of pad of Dabrowski. Another shot. Pushed to the backboard. Cleared. Hits off of Milwaukee, so no icing. Goalie comes out to play it. Pushes it behind the net. Carter comes in to push. Kruger comes over and helps. Milwaukee gets it into the zone. Taken away. Carter takes a glancing blow. Gets the puck over to Rubicki, and it's a neutral ice. Milwaukee goes across Brown. Gloves it down. Brown gets tied up. Takes two guys with him. Carter's there. Carter puts the puck into the corner. Kruger comes over to help. Chipped over to the opposite corner. Brown comes over. Gets a hit on. Puck into neutral ice. And the Admirals carry back through. Good push by Rybicki. Doesn't let a shot get on. Puck goes behind Dabrowski. Aldridge is there. Brown over to the side. Pushes this guy into the board. Puck goes low again. Milwaukee working on the boards. Kruger gets it dug out. Over to Brown. Brown's going to get it across chip and change. Puck goes in. Kruger on the forecheck. Bergeron is on. Credidio is on. Credidio working on the forecheck. Puck goes across. Good pressure by Berge. Milwaukee turns the puck over. We chip it down. Miller puts it into the zone. Bergeron on the forecheck again. Krzyzewski and Bergeron kind of run into each other. Milwaukee goes past and through the middle of the ice. Now on the left side, it's a shot on Dabrowski. He knocks it away. Puck back into the middle of the ice. Krzyzewski gets hooked while he's trying to get that puck, and then Milwaukee's offsides. 9:15 to go, still 0-0. Same personnel out there, Porzingis and Miller at D, Credidio, Bergeron, and Krzyzewski at forward. Krzyzewski pushes it back to Miller. Miller cross ice for Porzingis. Porzingis cross center ice and dumps it into the corner. Credidio comes in on the forecheck. Milwaukee puts it into the corner still, and Krzyzewski digs it out. Krzyzewski trying to get that up the boards to Miller, takes an awkward bounce. Milwaukee dumps it in. Dabrowski's going to play it. Dabrowski plays it up the near board. It gets tied up. The Milwaukee player comes loose, and Milwaukee dumps it back down. Porzingis over to the corner to get it. Puts it up for Berge. Berge is tied up. No icing. Nietzsche comes on. Milwaukee dumps it, goes for a change. Letcher and Kalicki have joined Nietzsche. Onak at D. Miller goes for a change. Puck put back into the middle. Onak loves it down. He's got Aldridge with him. Aldridge to Chalicki. Chalicki, nice pass. Nietzsche gets hooked again. Another hooking, no call. Puck up the near board over to Aldridge. Aldridge on net. Puck bounces to Letcher. Letcher working behind as Nietzsche put it back to him after he dug the first one out. Letcher takes a check, pins the puck, waits for Nietzsche to come help. Nietzsche's pinned now. Letcher's trying to move the puck. It does come loose. Letcher comes out of the scrum, knocks the puck to the corner, gets tied up again. Milwaukee goes cross ice, tries to get past Aldridge. Aldridge ties up a player. Puck loose to Onak. Onak gets tripped. And we'll get that one. So Onak draws a trip. They're going to call coincidental. So they're saying Onak tripped him after Onak was tripped. I don't think that happened, but okay. 7:30 to go. 5-on-5. They got coincidentals. Hollow is out there with Reynolds and Pulauskas, Porzingis and Rybicki. Puck is pinned down low. And it's not moving, so we're going to get a face-off. This official's hot. A lot of yelling. So Paulo takes the draw. Milwaukee puts it to the board, and then on Dabrowski off pad goes to the opposite board and knocked down beneath below Dabrowski on net. So now Milwaukee has been able to get it out of the corner, try to center, hits off of Pulauskas. Rybicki tries to get it up to Pulauskas. Milwaukee gets hold of it. Again, try to clear, bounces off of the boards. Milwaukee regains control. Working behind the net, now over into the corner. Puck is tied up again. Comes loose over to Milwaukee. Rubicki's trying to battle. Milwaukee gets up to their D, gets a shot, gets blocked in front, and goes over to the opposite corner. Puck does finally come up. They try to get a shot on Reynolds. Reynolds has Pulauskas with him, opts to hold on to it, comes up the board, gets knocked by two players, and puck gets pushed into our zone. Miller puts it over to Aldridge. Aldridge back to Miller, gets checked by the ref. That's a new one. Milwaukee back in control, goes D to D. Try to get it, almost gets through. They've got a guy in the crease. That should be a crease violation. Milwaukee's going to ice it. Nolan talking to the ref. Ref's not listening to anything. Wally having words with the ref. This ref, I don't know. Kruger, Brown, Carter come out, Miller, and Aldridge at D. Face-off one over to Brown. Brown misses it. Milwaukee gets it out of the zone and have an opportunity on a rush, tied up by Aldridge. Good job. Gets it over to the near board. Milwaukee keeps it in, takes it back down low. Puck around. Milwaukee tries to get it past Carter. Carter chips it. Their D control got a shot on Dabrowski and glove. Onak's penalty is over, and he joins his teammates back on the bench. 5:16 to go in the first. Same personnel. Kruger to take the face-off. Chipped over to Carter. Carter misses it, but Onak takes it away, tries to go up the boards. Milwaukee back in it. Brown to Carter. Carter misses the pass. Milwaukee puts it back in. Onak to neutral ice. Milwaukee chips it to their D. Up the middle and chipped into the zone now. Pass over to the slot. Kruger is going to go for a penalty. So Kruger's going to go for hooking. So Kruger's going to sit for two. We'll go on a kill. Bergeron, Krishkowski, Rubicki, and Prisgintis. 4:42 to go in the first. Milwaukee on the blue line, go across, back to the point, to the opposite board, back up to the blue line. They get past Krishkowski. Bergeron ties up, so they don't get another opportunity. Puck back up to the blue line. Milwaukee dumps it into the corner. Try to get one on Dabrowski. It gets knocked away by Rubicki and back up to the point. Milwaukee looking for space. Try to get it past Kush. He blocks it. It goes into neutral ice. They've got to tag up. D to D. And back into Milwaukee's zone. Krishkowski trying to push some pressure on him. Now up to Bergeron. Bergeron pushes wide. Milwaukee tries to set back up. They go around into the opposite corner. Prisgintis puts a body on. Puck goes low. Rubicki is there. Puck comes out and back up to the point. Shot it in the front. Gets deflected. I don't know that actually got onto Brauchi. Milwaukee up at the front tries to get one through. Rubicki gets a stick on it. Puck chips over to Krishkowski. Krishkowski waiting. Takes a check to the back there. Gets knocked away. Reynolds comes out to help. 3:22 to go. And 32 seconds left on the kill. Good stick by Paulo. Knocks the puck back into neutral ice. Milwaukee sets up again. Enters on the left side. Gets past Onak. Miller is there. They fan on it. Luckily, Onak takes it back and sends it all the way down. Kruger's penalty is almost expired. 2:56 to go in the first. Milwaukee coming around. Try to get past Reynolds. He knocks the puck loose and takes it away. Kruger out of the box has an opportunity. Puck goes behind him, and that'll be an icing. Chalicki, Nietzsche, and Letcher are going to come on. It's still 0-0, 2:41 to go in the period. Nietzsche to take the face-off. Miller and Onak at D. Milwaukee wins the face-off and sends it down behind Dabrowski. Puck is stuck in feet. Letcher winds up it, goes behind Dabrowski, and then chips it forward looking for Nietzsche. Down by a Milwaukee player. They get a shot. It goes wide of Dabrowski. Puck now behind. Miller picks it up. Gets it to Letcher. Letcher puts it forward for Nietzsche to go get. Milwaukee trying to evade. Puts a puck in the middle of the ice. Misses. Miller is there. He puts it to Nietzsche. Nietzsche enters. Tries to pass across. Hits off of the stick. And into the middle of the ice. Nobody is there to get it. Milwaukee back the other way. 2 in. Centering pass deflected by Rubicki. Takes it up the far board. Still has it. Hits off of the linesman. And then a cross-ice pass to Chalicki. Chalicki sends it in on net. Nietzsche in the corner. Up to Aldridge. Aldridge quick in front. Hits off of a Milwaukee player and to the far board. They try to get it out. Rubicki keeps it in. Takes a hit on the sideboard and it bounces to a Milwaukee player. Deflected off of Letcher. Letcher with control gets it to Aldridge. Aldridge's shot goes off pad. Kruger now on the ice. Puck to Chalicki, back down to Kruger. Misses Kruger but hits Letcher. Letcher takes a really bad hit. Milwaukee's going to go for that penalty. Letcher's still down, trying to see if he's all right. Coach is coming off the bench to take a look. That was a pretty bad check. They're debating what they're gonna do, but for right now they only gave him 2. Letcher looks like the wind's knocked out of him. Slowly making his way back to the bench. We'll see what happens here. He's picking it up a little bit. So, as of right now, it's only 2. Letcher makes it back. We're going to go with Nietzsche, Reynolds, Paulo, Chalicki, and Onak. Milwaukee wins that faceoff, tries to get it out. Reynolds sends it back onto the board. Milwaukee gets it back and sends it on to Dabrowski. Dabrowski waits. Tries to get it to Onak. It hits off of a Milwaukee player, and Onak picks up the loose puck. Onak on the far board brings it down. He's going for a centering pass to Chalicki. Bounces to Nietzsche. Nietzsche's shot gets deflected wide, and Milwaukee sends it. Reynolds has to hustle as Milwaukee's putting a heavy forecheck on. Reynolds puts it back to Onak. 32 seconds to go in the period, minute 18 left on the power play. Nietzsche sends it in, and it goes directly out of play. So that'll be outside the zone. So Brown's going to take a spot. Pulauskas, Carter, Brown, Krishkowski. and Prusgintis. Prusgintis takes that face off. Brown gets the puck over to Pulauskas. Brown on the corner. Puck comes out. Puck out to Carter. Carter and Prusgintis. Pulauskas dumps it in. Carter loses a stick somehow. That's a slash. And that'll be the end of the period. So after one, we're still 0-0, 48 seconds to go on the power play. Based on the last game, there'll be an ice cut directly in the middle of the second period. So again, I apologize for the bad angle. It's not a great place to watch this game here. All right, a little change to this group here. So we're going to go Kushkowski, Nietzsche, Paulo, Reynolds, and Onak. Milwaukee wins that face-off. They send it back down. Dabrowski pushes it to Onak. Onak from behind Dabrowski waits. Reynolds picks it up, comes out from behind, gets it up to Paulo. Paulo carries in. Looks for the soft spot, finds Nietzsche, but knocked away by Milwaukee. Milwaukee chips up the boards, and one man in. Tries to get a shot off of Onak, but it hits him, and then Paulo picks it up and carries forward. Over to Reynolds. Reynolds puts it down low, bounced off of the boards, almost on net, but pushed by Milwaukee. Penalty's going to expire in 3 seconds. Nietzsche down low for Paulo, up to Reynolds. Reynolds' shot gets blocked to side. Nietzsche gets it to Onak. We're even. Miller comes on a change. Nietzsche makes some space, hits off of the goaltender. Kushkowski chip pass to Nietzsche, knocked aside. Kruger comes on a change. Milwaukee gets a shot, hits off of Dabrowski's pad. Another chance, hits the net. Kushkowski in the corner, trying to get that dug out. Puts it ahead for Chalicki, who came on a change. Milwaukee up the near board. Prusgintis changes on D. Milwaukee's got two. Miller, good job, gets the stick down, blocks the pass. Milwaukee's still in control, however. Pulauskas has come on. Another shot, glove save. So Dabrowski gives no rebound. 15 to go in the second. Chalicki and Pulauskas. Aldridge comes out at D. With Prusgintis. Puck into the corner. Milwaukee gets there first, try to put up the board. Kruger gets a hit on, winds up with the puck, tries to clear it, gets knocked into some skates. Chalicki gets it forward. No icing called. Pulauskas comes in on the forecheck, gets that puck, but knocked into the corner. Kruger coming in hard, gets a hit. Puck goes down low for Pulauskas again, knocked into the corner by Milwaukee, and then up the near board. Milwaukee goes cross ice, enters on the right side, gets a shot blocked by Aldridge. Gintis puts it to Kruger, who gets it to Pulauskas. Pulauskas gets it knocked away. Milwaukee back in the corner, trying to work it, hits off of Gintis' stick. Kruger gets a hit on, but Milwaukee dumps it deep again. Puck up to Pulauskas, bounces it off of the pass by Kruger for Chalicki, gets intercepted. Milwaukee comes back in, gets a shot on Dabrowski, rebound in front. Aldridge knocks it away. Credidio comes out on a change with Bergeron, Krzyzkowski as well. Aldridge moves that puck into the corner, gets Credidio away for a breakaway. Credidio shot, glove save by Milwaukee. Great pass by Aldridge. Credidio in the soft spot between the D gets an opportunity, and a glove save by Milwaukee keeps it 0-0. Puck moved up the board for Krzyzkowski. Aldridge changes and Onak comes on. Puck makes it cross ice. Krzyzkowski tries to pass to Credidio, goes for a change. Onak pushes that puck back into the zone. We were offside, so everybody tags up. Paulo is on. Pulauskas is on. Reynolds comes on for Burge. Miller behind Dabrowski. With speed through the neutral zone. Puck over to the corner. Puts it across for Pulauskas on the sideboard, but it goes past him. Reynolds tries to send it back down for Pulauskas. Milwaukee goes cross ice, and that'll be an icing. 12:30 to go in the second, still 0-0 after that great save by Milwaukee on Credidio. Credidio with a great opportunity. Miller, Gintis, Pulauskas, Paulo, and Reynolds still out there for their shift. Paulo ties up. Milwaukee digs it out. Paulo getting shoved. Just going at him for no reason. All right. So same kid that had the cheap shot on Letcher. Paulo gets sent in for nothing. This ref is really bad. Oh, they're giving us? All right, so they're giving us a penalty. So we're not calling them coincidental. Well, we are calling it coincidental, and then essentially Paulo got a double minor. I'm not sure what happened here. A really awful call. So Nietzsche and Reynolds with Gintis and Miller. Puck goes behind Dabrowski. Miller sends it over to Gintis. Gintis tries to get it off of the glass, hits off of Milwaukee into the corner. They get it up to their D. Cross ice. Reynolds comes in to pressure, but they move it down. Puck now in feet. Miller dumps his guy, and he's going to get a trip. So now we're going to go 5-on-3. So Onak, Kushkowski, Reynolds. Now this ref is having a problem with how we changed, but he was asking for the change. Reynolds knocks it out. This guy can't skate. I mean, it's far too often we see this with officials, but guys that are in a spot where they shouldn't be. Milwaukee sends it into the netting. Puck will come outside. 11:37 to go. Oh, Letcher's back on the ice. That's good to see. So Letcher going to help on this kill with Nietzsche and Onak. Milwaukee takes it wide, pushes it back up to the slot. Now back up to the point. Walk it in, go over to the far side, back up. They're playing a box, so they've got a guy in the middle. They're trying to move it around our three-guy defense. They do get it down low. This is a type of shot. Good save by Dabrowski. Well, the official's still arguing with Wall. So Reynolds, Aldridge, and Kushkowski. Wall got a bench penalty. So Chilicki goes to the bench. Or goes to the box to serve. Or if he's serving for Paulo, I'm not sure. It's 24 seconds to go on the first penalty. I don't know if they gave Paulo a 10. And we'll see what happens if Chilicki comes out. Milwaukee brings it back into the zone. They go over to the near board, back up. Down low, centering pass goes wide. That's going to come out of the zone. Chilicki comes out for Paulo. So they must have given Paulo a misconduct for something he said to the official. Chilicki comes out of the box for Paulo. Reynolds tries to tie up. Kushkowski is out there as well. Sets back up. The Milwaukee brings it back up to their D, then back down real quick into the corner. Reynolds working in the corner. Penalty has expired. Miller comes across. Gintis comes out. So we're all even again. So Paulo must have gotten some. I don't know what's going on with Paulo. Gintis behind Dabrowski. Works it up to Nietzsche. Puck gets knocked away by Milwaukee's D. Kushkowski and Nietzsche working. Kushkowski goes into the corner with the puck. Nietzsche over to help, chips it out, makes its way to Gintis over to Rubicki up for Kush. Just misses Kush, but they wave icing. Letcher and Pulauskas come out. Puck comes around. Pulauskas over to Rubicki off the far board. Chips it ahead for Pulauskas. Pulauskas to Letcher. Letcher sends it in. Slowed down by the Milwaukee goaltender. 8:37 to go in the second period. We'll probably get an ice cut here soon. Milwaukee sends it ahead. They had a guy streaking. Chris Gintis gets in front of that pass, goes back the other way. Gets past one guy, brings it in, tries to get past second. Backhand goal, deflects, goes, looks like the net is knocked off, and we'll go to ice cut. So we'll see what happens with this after we get back from the ice cut, if Paulo gets to go back on the bench or if he comes back to the box. All right. My laptop is not picking up the stream. Can somebody in chat tell me if you guys can see the feed? All right, so we're gonna start off in the offensive zone after the whistles, but uh, okay, good. Glad you guys can see the stream. Reynolds, Paulo, and out there with Ribicki and Aldridge. Milwaukee through the neutral zone. They dump it in low, bounces off of the boards. Ribicki picks it up, chips it over to Reynolds. Reynolds comes off the board with it, tries to pass, doesn't quite get enough on it. Milwaukee sends it back in. D to D to Ribicki. The far board for Paulo. Paulo chips ahead for Reynolds. Palauskas enters. Oh, pass, but Milwaukee chips it out of the zone. Onak and Miller on D now. Onak out of the corner, goes across, hits off of Chalicki, and good steal by Onak. Milwaukee trying to chip it through the neutral zone. Onak gets it across. Letcher sends it back deep. Miller pushes that puck down. Somebody's stick. Oh, they picked it up. Puck knocked back down to Onak. Onak up for Letcher. Letcher takes a hit. Puck gets knocked away. Miller separates man from puck, goes into the corner. Onak gets tied up, but puck bounces its way to Miller. Miller to Chalicki. Over to Nietzsche. Nietzsche enters in the zone, gets a shot. Goal! And Nietzsche gives himself some space, a little quick touch, moves over to the left and beats the goaltender on a nice shot from the hashes. 6:32 to go in the first. 1-0 Fury. Nietzsche with the first goal. Kruger, Carter, Brown out there now. Kruger wins that faceoff. Brzginsis dumps it in. Brown comes over to help with the forecheck. Milwaukee gets it up the far board and into the zone. Brzginsis and a Milwaukee player get tied up. Puck comes up to Kruger, knocked away by Milwaukee, back the other side. Shot high and into the netting. Kruger sets up to take the draw. Milwaukee wins it, sends it back to their D. Couldn't quite get a hold of it. Chip forward, a Ribicki into neutral ice. Milwaukee back the other way. Puck gets past Brzginsis, down for Ribicki. Ribicki sends it across for Brown. Brown chips it ahead for Kruger. Kruger to Carter. Carter and Kruger come in. D went for a change. Carter gets to that loose puck. He gets taken down, tries to get stick on it to pass it. Puck to Brown. Brown battling off of the board. Still in feet, gets it to Carter. Carter. Over for Kushkowski, who's just come on for Kruger. Shot in front, rebound. Brown tries to dig it out, gets tied up and covered by the goaltender. 5:14 to go. Kushkowski, Bergeron, Credidio on the ice. Onak and Aldridge at D. Kushkowski wins that faceoff back. Bergeron knocks it to the board. He gets tied up. Milwaukee tries to send it across. It gets deflected high. Onak loves it down. It in on net, takes a hit. Everybody tags up. The goaltender deciding whether or not to play it, drops it down for his D and sends it up the far board. Kushkowski gets tied up. Loose puck still. Milwaukee gains control into the neutral zone. They have 4 across. Try to send it in. Good job by Kushkowski to knock that puck down, bring it in. Gets a step, shoots again. Cross. Almost got an opportunity there. The goaltender slid. Kushkowski's shot just goes wide. He might have been passing for a backdoor tap to Credidio. Shot on Dabrowski's kicked aside now into the corner. Bergeron is there. Pushes him down low. Puck comes back to the corner. Shot on Dabrowski's in front. Dabrowski covers. Aldridge is there to make sure that the Milwaukee player doesn't get a chance to knock that one in. Miller and Briskintis come out. Face off one back by Paulo. Goes around for Reynolds. Reynolds looking for Kolauskas. Passes intercepted by Milwaukee. They send it back in. Reynolds trying to steal. Milwaukee is offsides. One too many moves there by Milwaukee, trying to avoid Reynolds, and one of the players steps offside, so we'll get a face-off in neutral ice. Paulo steps in to take the face-off. Milwaukee wins that and brings it in. They're on the far side. Shot into Dabrowski's stomach, no rebound. Briskintis and one of the Milwaukee players exchange a little bit of pleasantries. Same personnel. Paulo pushes that back to Miller. Miller high off of the glass and out of play. Milwaukee wins another faceoff, gets it back to their D. Shot blocked in front. I think it hit Paulo over the far board. Now brought back down the corner behind Dabrowski. Dropped again behind Dabrowski. Looking for a centering pass. Gets it up to their D. Quick shot wide of Dabrowski. Bounces off of the board over the far side. Knocked back down low. Briskintis pushes it for Kolauskas. Kolauskas chips ahead for Paulo. Paulo, big hit. Gets the puck over to Reynolds, however. Reynolds trying to get past, gets tied up. Kolauskas puts that puck forward to Paulo. Paulo to Miller. Miller back down for Kolauskas. Nietzsche comes on for Paulo. And Milwaukee clears the zone again. Briskintis to the red line. Throws it in. Puck over to the corner. Miller keeps it in. Walks it down, chips it to the corner. Milwaukee gets in front of it. Cross ice, try to spring a guy. No icing. That's interference on Chalicki. And they were going to call Chalicki for interference. Everybody thought that it was on Milwaukee. Milwaukee dumped Chalicki, and they get a goal off of another bad call. So 1-1 with 2:39 to go in the second. Nietzsche, Letcher, Chalicki still out with Aldridge and Rubicki. That was brutally bad. Oh, and then Rubicki gets run. And they finally blow it. See who they're calling it on. All right, so maybe a makeup call for the bad call earlier. I don't know. But we'll go on the power play now. Nietzsche, Letcher, Paulo, Reynolds, Onak out there for the power play. Face off, tied up underneath Paulo. Dug out by Milwaukee to try to get it out. It does get past Onak. Paulo coming in hard. Milwaukee luckily lost the handle. Onak gets the headlock. I'm not calling anything on that. Definitely a penalty, but no call. Paulo on the near board gets it to Letcher down low. Letcher chips over to Nietzsche. Nietzsche around for Reynolds. Reynolds back down low for Letcher. Bounces off of Letcher's stick over to the corner. Paulo is there. Paulo up to Onak. Onak cross for Reynolds. Centering for Nietzsche. Nietzsche shot. Deflected. It hits the back glass. And to the corner. Nietzsche comes over. Hits off of Nietzsche. Letcher digs it out. Gets it to Reynolds. Reynolds stick touches, but it goes off of the stick and goes up to Onak. Carrying in. Goes wide. Puck deflected to the corner. Reynolds down low. Gets knocked away. Milwaukee's going to clear. Milwaukee clears behind Dabrowski. Dabrowski takes a look, decides to leave it for Onak. We got a change. Kushkowski comes on. Carter, Chalicki, Polauskas. Kushkowski shot pushed aside by the goaltender into the corner. Polauskas comes over to help. Carter over to help. Polauskas gets taken down. Brzgintzis sends that puck low for Polauskas. Polauskas to Brzgintzis over to Chalicki. Chalicki to Brzgintzis up front. Shot. Puck over to Chalicki. So Carter takes a cross check, Kushkowski takes a hit, and Kushkowski gets a penalty. They're sending them both. I mean, all right. 11 seconds to go on I don't know what they're calling here. Should be 5-on-4. Kruger, Brown, Carter. Puck in front. Carter gloves it down. Gets it up to Miller. Miller to Brzgintzis. Brzgintzis. Shot in front. Puck's loose. Kruger tries to get one on. It goes behind net. We're even. Penalties expired. Puck up the far board and brought back down low by Milwaukee. Kruger rubs the man off the puck, but Milwaukee still in control. Centering pass deflected. Brown ties up. Puck over to Brown. Brown takes a glancing blow, but gets the puck up to Kruger. Kruger ties up. And that'll be the end of the period. So puck's still loose. Kruger's on the ice. And that'll be the end of the period. All right, start the third. We're going to go with the way we ended. Kruger, Brown, Carter. Onak and Miller at D. Kruger wins that faceoff back to Onak. Onak up for Carter and chips off of a Milwaukee player. Kruger working down low with Carter's help. Puck comes free to Milwaukee. Milwaukee to the corner. Brown over to Milwaukee chips it. Well, not chips it, but flips it into neutral ice. Onak with it. His pass gets deflected. Milwaukee back on the attack. Gets one on Dabrowski. Comes over to Brown. Brown has space. Puts it ahead for Carter. Carter gets a shot. Miller was right next to the goaltender. No rebound given. Kruger goes for a change, and we'll get a whole line change. Chalicki, Nietzsche, Letcher join Rubicki and Prisgintis at D. Face-off one back to Prisgintis over to Rubicki. Rubicki down low for Chalicki. Chalicki looking to go cross ice. Rubicki keeps it in, gets a shot, deflects off of the goaltender's stick and into the back netting. Nietzsche wins that back to Rubicki. Rubicki walks the line, gets shot, puck in front, bounces off of the goaltender, rebound, but Milwaukee controls it. Flip it to the middle of the ice, cross ice for Rubicki, or Nietzsche to Chalicki. Chalicki couldn't quite get all of it. Milwaukee pushes that puck down the ice. Rubicki picks it up and leaves it for Prisgintis. Prisgintis up for Chalicki. Knocked back by Milwaukee. Rubicki picks up that loose puck, gets it into the zone, tries to center to Letcher, deflects to Milwaukee. Milwaukee tries to get it out. Nietzsche steals it. Nietzsche tries to go back to Letcher. Letcher chips it to Aldridge, back to Letcher, cross ice for Onak. Onak down the boards, centering pass looking for Letcher, taken away by Milwaukee and into neutral ice. Aldridge sends it down, hits off of Milwaukee player, back behind. Nietzsche gives a little bit of pressure and then goes for a change. Reynolds and Palauskas come on. Paulo comes on. Dabrowski leaves for Onak. Onak over to Reynolds, I believe. No, Palauskas. Onak in the corner, up for Reynolds. Reynolds brings the puck in, circles. Backdoor for Palauskas, blocked into the corner. Palauskas sends it behind the net. Paulo to the corner. Reynolds picks that puck up off of the boards. Puck protection, tries to flip it to Palauskas. Reynolds was hooked. We'll go back on the power play. A lot of penalties in this game. Paulo, Reynolds, Onak, Letcher, Nietzsche. 14:37 to go in the game, 1-1 on the power play. Nietzsche to take the face-off. Nietzsche wins that over to Letcher. Letcher back for Onak to Reynolds. Reynolds down the board to Letcher in the corner. Letcher back to Reynolds to Onak. Onak, had Nietzsche in the middle, just goes past him. Milwaukee pushes it to the board. Reynolds picks it up and sends it cross ice for Paulo. Paulo down the boards, has a lane, shoots it, hits off of the blocker, goes to the corner. Nietzsche digs it out. Gets tied up. Nietzsche taking a couple extra shots there. And Milwaukee clears it down on Dabrowski. Dabrowski puts it for Onak. Onak carries forward, gets it to Paulo. Paulo takes it down low, comes around the net up to Letcher. Letcher Backdoor for Reynolds. Reynolds shot. Hits off of the shoulder of the goaltender into his glove. No rebound. Carter, Palauskas, Kushkowski, Chalicki, and Przgintis come on. Minute 13 to go in the power play, 13:50 in the game. Kushkowski, who's been good at faceoffs, says sets up to take this one, wins it back to Chalicki. Chalicki gets it to Przgintis. Back to Chalicki. Chalicki's got a lane, takes a shot, deflects, goes high off of the glass and into the corner. Kushkowski and Palauskas trying to dig it out. Carter gets it off of the board, sends it back down to Palauskas. Przgintis one time, bounces it off of the board. Kushkowski's jam attempt gets blocked and cleared out of play. It'll stay in. 52 seconds to go. Reynolds, Paulo, Nietzsche, Letcher, and Onak come back on. Paulo pushes that puck up to Onak. Onak cross for Reynolds. Reynolds was going to try to get it off of Letcher's stick. It just misses. Goes into the corner. Nietzsche digs that off of the boards. Onak gets it to Reynolds. Reynolds back to Onak. Onak takes the puck down. Shot goes wide, deflects. Reynolds gets to it first. Loses an edge, but gets the puck down low. Bounces off of the net over to Milwaukee. Milwaukee clears. Reynolds gloves it down in the neutral zone. Sends it around hard for Paulo. Paulo on the boards with Nietzsche. Onak touches it, goes out of play. It'll come to the neutral zone. 13 seconds to go in the power play. Bergeron, Credidio, and Kushkowski will come out for the last bit. Miller and Onak at D. Face off, pushed back. Miller's there, but it got pushed under his feet. Credidio picks up the loose puck. Credidio through neutral ice, brings it in. Kushkowski goes low. Credidio is there. Milwaukee gets it out of the corner, puts it forward. Kushkowski knocks that puck down over to Miller. Miller coming up the near board. Gets past two. Tries to get past the third. To Onak. Onak takes a hit, puck line back into neutral ice. Cross ice for Rybicki. Rybicki goes back down the board and up to Burge. Burge chips ahead for Kush. Stepped in front of by Milwaukee. Back to their D and up. Misses everybody. That's going to be icing. Kruger, Carter, Brown come on. Przgintis and Rybicki at D. 11:59 to go. Still 1-1. Faceoff hits off of the linesman. Brown trying to dig it out. Puck in the corner. Brown pins his man, but pushed behind the net for Milwaukee. Cross ice now. Puck comes out. Przgintis was there, but just squeaked past the blue line. Same personnel. Get a neutral zone face-off. Kruger trying to set up. Puck pushed back to Przgintis and brought in behind net. Played by the goaltender. Sent over to the far board. Carter, big hit. Puck comes loose in the middle. Milwaukee chips it up. Gets it through the neutral zone. Wide pass now. Kruger pushes him to the corner. Puck up to Carter. Carter chips it out of the zone. Milwaukee gathers Brown up to give pressure. Milwaukee up to the far or to the near board, and then offsides. Palauskas, Paulo, Reynolds come off the bench. Paulo wins that face-off. Gets it to Aldridge. Aldridge to Onak. Up to Palauskas and put in behind the goaltender. Paulo hard on the forecheck. Milwaukee gets it up the boards. Puck still in the corner. Milwaukee tries to clear it and do on the far side. Through the neutral zone, Paul's trying to push wide. Good stick by Onak. Puck pushed to Reynolds. Reynolds gets knocked away. Onak picks it up and brings it in. Onak from the corner tries to pass to Pulauskas. Active stick by Milwaukee knocks that puck down, and then they send the puck down for an icing. 10:38 to go in the third. Chalicki, Letcher, and Nietzsche. Come on. Oh, excuse me. Face-off pushed back behind Nietzsche. Milwaukee comes away with it. Go for a pass. It misses. No icing. Milwaukee into the corner. Rubbed off. Puck comes loose. Chalicki gets it out. Onak gets his stick knocked and the puck comes off. Onak changes. Miller comes on. Milwaukee dumps it back in. Puck to Miller. Over to Nietzsche. Nietzsche chips it up for Letcher. Letcher and Chalicki got a 2-on-1. Letcher shoots, hits the post. Hits off of back wall. Milwaukee sends it into the corner and then back up. Misses. There's Gintis, who's come on and changed. Gets in front of that puck, tries to get a pass up. Loses his stick, kicks it to Miller. Miller to Brzgintis. Brzgintis kicks it to Letcher. Puck comes loose. Nietzsche's got a 2-on-1 now. Nietzsche passed to a backdoor, misses Chalicki. Back to the near board. Milwaukee looks like they're getting a little tired now. Miller gets that puck to Letcher. Letcher over to Miller. Bounces off of the board. Milwaukee has it. Chalicki changes. Brown comes on. Kruger comes on. Milwaukee enters on the near board, takes it down to the corner and behind Dabrowski. Kruger pushes this guy to the board. Brzgintis over to help. Milwaukee still with it, trying to get a pass in front up to the D. Brown comes out to challenge. Puck goes wide. Kruger in the corner. Puck up to Letcher. Letcher chips for Brown. Brown takes a big hit, had his head down. Carter comes on for Letcher. Milwaukee trying to center. Carter in the way. Aldridge pins his guy. Puck goes behind for Kruger. Kruger looking for Brown. Skirts past him and gets to Milwaukee. Milwaukee goes D to D. Cross ice pass for Milwaukee and then back up the board. Milwaukee, not an overly skilled team, but they do pass. And that's what is getting past us today. Rubicki to Carter. Carter carries the puck in. Brown changes. Predidio comes on. Koszkowski is on. Onak coming from behind Dabrowski. Up the near board. Drops it for Kush. Kush has a lane. Shot off of the goaltender's shoulder. Rebound to the corner. Bergeron loses an edge. Puck back over to the far board. Miller comes over. Ties his man up. Puck comes loose. Milwaukee just sends it down the ice. Onak gets it and dumps it back in. We tag. Onak changes. Brzgintis comes on. Puck hits off of Miller. Good job by Brzgintis to tie up. Koszkowski comes over and wins that puck. Up for Predidio. Predidio chips it forward. Predidio and Bergeron coming in on the forecheck. Milwaukee slows up. Predidio pushes him over to Berge. Berge in the corner. Puck up the far board and then a little short pass into the neutral zone for Milwaukee. He loses an edge. Puck down into the corner now for Rubicki. Koszkowski's there as well. Brzgintis up for Predidio. Predidio circles, goes cross ice for Rybicki. Rybicki off of the boards for Krzyzkowski. Krzyzkowski tries a one-handed poke at it to get it in the zone. Milwaukee winds up sending it back. Hits off of a player. Gradidio changes. Polauskas, Reynolds, Paulo come on. Aldridge and Rybicki at D. 6:15 to go in the game, still 1-1. Milwaukee gets a shot, it's blocked. Puck to the corner, Aldridge is there. Milwaukee still working up the board, gets it to their D. Polauskas doesn't quite get a stick on it. Reynolds ties up, gets that puck back, trying to make some space for himself. Puts it behind Dabrowski and across for Reynolds. Reynolds avoids one hit, avoids another, brings it past, but gets the puck knocked away. Milwaukee keeps control. They get it into the dot, get a rebound off Dabrowski. Shot misses, goes behind net, and then up the near board. Milwaukee's still bringing that puck down. It's on the sideboard. I don't have a good look at it. Puck came loose. Cross ice for Polauskas. Polauskas brings that puck down to the corner. Punch stop. Tries to get it to Reynolds. Milwaukee back in control. Nietzsche's on the ice now for Milwaukee into the middle of the ice, and they're going to puck to the corner for Onak. Onak working from behind Dabrowski, waits for Nietzsche. Comes over to the sideboard, tries to get Polauskas. Polauskas hits the puck, but it goes over to the far board. Milwaukee picks it up. Chilicki's come on the ice. Zone entry by Milwaukee and a quick shot beats Dabrowski low, and it is 2-1 Milwaukee with 4:49 to go. Chilicki, Nietzsche, Letcher on the ice. Face-off was controlled by Milwaukee. They turned it over to Nietzsche, who then turned it right back over to Milwaukee. Nietzsche's stick gets slashed and knocked out of his hands. Letcher goes cross ice for Przgintis. Przgintis to Letcher. Letcher chips it in. Chilicki goes into the corner. Milwaukee drop pass back to the corner, and then a short pass up, flipped into the neutral zone. Milwaukee picks it up, gets past Przgintis and into the sideboard. Back up the board for Milwaukee. Shot on Dabrowski, blocked down behind him. Rybicki sends it up for Chilicki, but Chilicki lost the handle and they send it back in. Letcher now in the corner. Goes across for Rybicki. Rybicki up to Nietzsche. Nietzsche enters the zone, drops it for Chilicki. Chilicki shot low into the pads of the goaltender, no rebound. 3:49 to go in the game. Carter, Kruger, Brown come out. Aldridge and Onak at D. Kruger wins that faceoff to Brown. It hits his skate. Milwaukee trying to dig it out from under him. Goes cross ice. Carter's there. Carter pins it, waits for help. Brown comes over to help. Knocks it into the corner. Milwaukee's got it. Milwaukee enters. 2 men in. Cuts across. Puck bounces through the crease and up. Shot's blocked. It goes behind Dabrowski. Aldridge to Brown. Brown cross ice for Carter. Carter sends it in. Milwaukee chips it back to the neutral zone. Onak sends it in. Kruger tags up, goes for a change. Carter behind. Puck goes into the corner. Brown is there, knocks it away. Krzyzkowski picks it up. Krzyzkowski to Carter. Carter chips. Brown and Carter change. Bergeron and Gradidio come on. Milwaukee to the neutral zone. chips it ahead for Miller. Miller cuts Credillo while they get on a change. Credillo pulls it. Goaltender didn't quite know where it was. It looked like it hit his hip, and then it dropped underneath of him, and they get a quick whistle. Going for a timeout. Timeout, Fury. But with 2:31 to go, we take a timeout. We're down 2-1. We got an in zone face-off, offensive zone face-off. All right, so out of the timeout, we're going to go with 6 attackers. Prisgintis, Reynolds, Hollow, Nietzsche, Letcher, and Onak. Hollow to take the face-off. Milwaukee wins it to the corner. Send it behind Dabrowski. Try to chip it out. Onak keeps it in, puts it on net. Rebound is covered immediately. Milwaukee wins another face-off, send it into the corner, and then chips it out. That'll go for an icing. 2:13 to go. Face off again, won by Milwaukee. They go behind and they send it all the way down. Misses wide. Aiming for the net. Nietzsche's going to come in and take this face off. Face off dropped below him, and Paulo gets it over to Onak. Onak sends it across. It deflects out of play. Nietzsche knocks that to Reynolds. Reynolds, quick shot blocked. Milwaukee in the corner, tries to send it out. Prisgintis jumps the pass, knocks it to Reynolds. Reynolds in the corner to Prisgintis. Prisgintis had a lane. It gets deflected over to the far board. Onak puts it back down for Letcher. Letcher around for Reynolds. Milwaukee gets there first and chips it in the neutral space. Shot, empty net goal, Milwaukee. So minute 29 to go. 3-1 Milwaukee. Brown, Reynolds, Pulauskas. Brown to take the face-off. Brown pushes that face-off over to Reynolds. Reynolds carries, tries to get past the extra guy. Puck knocks to Rubicki. Rubicki shot is gloved. Miller and Rubicki at D. If I hadn't said that before. Brown take another face-off. Reynolds offset. Face-off pushed over to Pulauskas. Pulauskas sends it to Rubicki. It goes past Rubicki. Rubicki to Miller. Miller for Brown. Brown chips it forward. Pulauskas gets tied up. Brown ties his man up in the corner. Pulauskas over to help. Reynolds coming behind, trying to get that puck. Chipped over to Reynolds. Reynolds up to Miller. Miller cross for Rubicki. Rubicki tipped by Brown in front, hits the glass. Reynolds back to Miller. Brown tips it again. Hits the glass. Chipped out over to the glass or the boards behind Dabrowski, and that'll be an icing. Credidio, Bergeron, Chalicki. Credidio playing center for this line. Prisgintis and Aldridge at D. Credidio tries to flip that back. Milwaukee steps in front of it. Centering pass, tied up by Prisgintis. Credidio sends it around for Bergeron. Puck comes out of the zone and sent back in by Milwaukee. Aldridge takes it. Gets knocked down. Puck behind for Prisgintis. Prisgintis sends up for Bergeron, intercepted. 7 seconds to go. Puck back behind for Credidio. Credidio gonna softly walk that out, and that'll be the first game. Milwaukee wins 3-1. We'll play again tonight at 8. All right, so we'll see everybody later tonight.